All right. So, what I wanted to talk about is when it comes to power forwards of all time power forwards, Tim Duncan is your number one.
Yeah, I mean, what's your list? Give me your top 5 right now.
Power forwards?
Yeah, top 5 power forwards of all time.
Question before we do that, because this has been a question that came up and we don't know how to. Maybe you can look this up. Moses Malone, was he a power forward or was he a center? For this argument, what is he going to be?
I mean, he was a 4 or 5. You can base your.
I'm gonna use him as a center.
You want to use him as a center for this argument?
Yeah, I'm gonna use him as a center because when Barkley played with them, hey man, focus.
Yes,
focus.
Oh, sorry.
When Barkley played with them, Barkley was the power forward, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go off of that. Here's the list for me: power forward, Tim Duncan, Karl Malone. Here's another. Elgin Baylor.
He was a 3. Like a 2-3. He was a swing man.
And Oscar Robertson was a point guard, right? That was played the 4.
That's what the black and white grainy video says to me. That's been Technicolor remastered.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with Tim Duncan, Karl Malone. I'll give you Charles Barkley as my number 3. Number 4. Ooh, number 4. I was gonna say top 5. 'Cause I think Dirk Nowitzki's up there. I'm probably forgetting somebody. Probably somebody important.
Kevin McHale.
See, Kevin McHale.
The lack of respect you have for Kevin McHale.
Kevin McHale, I put it number 5 because Kevin McHale, and I think Kevin McHale will tell you this, and I think I've read him say this before. If it wasn't for Bird, Parrish, and all them, he wouldn't be as good as he is. So I'm gonna go with Dirk Nowitzki because Dirk Nowitzki was the leader of his team. All these guys were the guys on their team. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm gonna go. Kevin McHale can't be in that category because he was either second or third fiddle on his team. So I can't ride with that.
How about Bob Pettit?
Bob Pettit again. We'll say our ignorance, we're too young to really know. I mean, we can read up on him, watch old grainy video and things like that. But I'm gonna go with Dirk Nowitzki over anybody from back then.
Elvin Hayes, Dave DeBusschere, Buck Williams.
So Dirk Nowitzki is my number 4. Is my number 4 with a damn bullet.
Yeah.
Who you got?
My list is similar to yours. I got Tim Duncan number 1, Karl Malone 2, Barkley 3, Kevin Garnett 4, Dirk Nowitzki.
There it
5.
is. Thank you. It was KG. KG was what I was forgetting.
Left KG off the list?
Yeah, I left KG off the list. Who was I knew somebody was my number 4. So that we bring that up. You already said you got KG over Dirk.
I would take KG over Dirk.
I would take KG over Dirk as well. But for devil's advocate, I will talk about why Dirk might be better career-wise.
Go right ahead, and then I'm going to read some names.
than KG. All right. So KG and Dirk, they both got a ring. Been in the league, Dirk about 12, KG about 15.
Yeah, Dirk came in that 96 draft.
98.
Was he 98?
He was 98. Kevin Garnett came in 95.
95.
Some numbers. Dirk Nowitzki, 23 points a game, 8.4 rebounds. This is career-wise, a block, and 2.7 assists.
Okay.
Scored more points than KG.
What are KG's numbers?
KG's numbers, 19 and a half, 10.8, 4.1. Overall numbers, go with KG. Because you got your more rebounds and you got your more assists.
And KG played a little something called defense.
Dirk Nowitzki, though, led his team to a championship. Now, you can say that Kevin Garnett was the MVP of that team, but Paul Pierce was the one that when they needed buckets, they went through Paul.
I just want to say that I watched Game 6. I watched Game 5. I watched Game 4. I saw J.J. Barrera getting buckets. I saw Jason Terry getting clutch buckets. And I saw Jason Kidd make some clutch threes as well.
Well, somebody else had to score, too. I'm just saying. So,
okay.
And then if you go back a little further, playoff-wise, and that's where it matters, Dirk has done more in the playoffs, even though he's had a couple setbacks. He's done more in the playoffs than Kevin Garnett has.
Okay.
I'm trying.
You good?
I am trying. There we go.
All right. Stephon Marbury, Tom Gugliotta, Doug West, Terry Porter, Cherokee Parks, Joe Smith, Terrell Brandon, Rasho Nesterovic, Wally Serbiak, Joe Smith, Chauncey Billups, Robert Pack, Sam Cassell, Latrell Sprewell.
Sam Cassell and Latrell Sprewell were very good teammates.
Very good teammates for a season and a half.
And then
they went to the Western Conference Finals
that year.
And then they didn't make the playoffs the next year. Sam Cassell was like 30-something years old at that point. Latrell Sprewell couldn't feed his family off $15 million.
Right.
Okay. Stephon Marbury and KG didn't get along. Stephon ended up leaving. Chauncey Billups played with KG for 2 years.
Okay.
Before he was the Chauncey Billups we know and love. They ended up trading him to Orlando.
Okay.
Okay. Terrell Brandon ended up getting microfracture surgery before we really knew what microfracture surgery was.
Right.
I mean, any of these players that I just rattled off sound that great to you? They sound like somebody that you can build a championship team around?
Kevin Garnett, you can build a championship.
So other than Kevin Garnett, do you think if you put Dirk on this team, is he going to elevate any of those guys to a championship level? Because that's what KG had to play with in Minnesota.
I can give you that.
Not only that, but they made that illegal deal with Joe Smith that ended up costing them 2 first-round draft picks and set them back. Malik Sealy died in a car accident. And he was, I don't want to say he was coming into his own like he was going to be this great player, R.I.P. Malik Sealy, but I mean, you weren't great. He passed away, so that was some talent that was gone.
Right.
So it wasn't like KG was surrounded with talent in Minnesota. It wasn't like people wanted to go to Minnesota. It wasn't like he had an owner in Glenn Taylor who was going to spend obscene amounts of money to make Minnesota an attractive place for free agents.
Okay.
All right. Now, I'm going to give you a couple names off of Dallas. I don't even need to give you many. Michael Finley in his prime.
Okay.
Who was
good.
Great. Steve Nash.
He wasn't MVP yet.
He wasn't MVP yet, but he was still a pretty good point guard.
Because Phoenix actually let him go.
Phoenix let him play. I mean, Dallas let him play.
No. Phoenix let him. Phoenix drafted him and then let him go.
Well, I mean, they had Jason Kidd.
I'm just saying.
Juwan Howard in his prime.
Okay.
He was an 18 and 8 guy in his prime. Rafe LaFrentz, who at the time when they traded to get him from Denver was supposed to be the guy to neutralize Shaq. He was supposed to be the guy to pull Shaq away from the basket. He was pretty good at that time when they traded for him.
Yeah, because that's when he got that big money.
He's pretty much better than anybody on this list of Minnesota teammates.
Okay.
Nick Van Exel, Antoine Jameson, and Antoine Walker all came off the bench for Dallas.
That's right.
That one season they lost in the first round to Sacramento Kings. Antoine Jameson still in the league being productive. Antoine Walker had just got the next year or two he got traded back to Boston. Him and Paul Pierce took Boston to the Eastern Conference Finals,
and they went to Miami and got a ring.
And got a ring. Jason Terry, Devin Harris, Josh Howard. I mean, Eric Dampier. I'm just comparing it to Cherokee Parks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Dirk has had talent around him. He's got an owner in Mark Cuban who's fun, exciting, who spends money on his franchise. He spends money on his players, and they want to be there. So I'm just saying that KG really didn't have the help, and then you send him out to Boston where he gets a taste of help with Pierce and Ray Allen at the time. I'm not going to say Rondo because at that point in time, nobody really knew what you were going to get from Rondo. So to go out there and win a title when he had some talent around him showed what he can do. When he took Sam Cassell and Latrell Sprewell to the Western Conference Finals that year when he had talent around him. KG is kind of like that guy that he doesn't want to be the dominant scorer. That's not his role. He wants to play defense. He wants to rebound. He wants to knock some shots down, but he wants to defer. That's my only
problem. Here's the thing with KG. Again, like I said, I was playing devil's advocate when I made a case for Dirk. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, I remember watching KG. I remember when he first came in the league, and I'm like, this dude can average 20 and 20. You know what I'm saying? 20 to like 25 and 20. I was thinking like that. When you play with him on the video games, damn, that's what you basically got. You were thinking
the way he plays, you can say, okay, you can give me 25 points, you can grab me 20 rebounds, and you can give me 5 to 8 assists.
Exactly. I thought KG
blocks.
I thought KG was going to turn into probably the most dominant. I thought he would be that number one guy, power forward. I didn't. When you put him against Tim Duncan and Kevin Garnett, I thought, early on when they were like going up against each other, I'm like, Kevin Garnett most definitely will end up being the better power forward.
So now you have to look at it as, okay, I know we both said we put KG over Dirk, but I'm basing that more on an all-around game.
Right.
I'm saying I've seen KG go in and I've seen him play tough and get rebounds. I've seen him get buckets when he needs to get buckets, and I've seen him play defense.
So now you're asking the question,
now
you need a player to lead a team. Close the game.
Not even that. You have to ask yourself, should KG be penalized because he didn't maximize on what he should be? I mean, are we supposed to look at Kevin Garnett's career as he underachieved? That he didn't maximize on his abilities now?
That's when you bring back up Cherokee Parks. Okay.
Well, no, I'm saying that, and I understand Cherokee Parks, but when you're playing on a team with that type of talent, shouldn't that make you want to take over more? Shouldn't that make you want to dominate more? I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, could this be the same problem that LeBron James has?
No, he plays with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh.
No. I mean, the fact that sometimes, because with KG, when it came down to clutch times when he was in Minnesota, where you were like, KG, take this game over, and you knew he could take, because you knew whoever the hell was guarding KG,
but he just
stood no chance.
But he didn't.
He was deferring, passing, all those things.
He had 1 year where he did that, and he went to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, you can look at LeBron like that, but let's be real. He got everything he could out of Cleveland. he got. I mean, he averaged 30 points a game.
You saw what happened to Cleveland after he left.
Exactly. He averaged 30 points a game. He grabbed 8 rebounds. He threw 8 assists. He did all he could with Cleveland, and you knew he had tapped Cleveland out. Just kind of looking at KG, I don't necessarily know if he tapped out everything he could in Minnesota. I mean, it wasn't much to tap out, so maybe he did.
Right.
But there were times when I felt like KG could have been more dominant, but at the same time, I still feel like defensively, rebounding, intensity,
overall player.
Overall, he's still better than Dirk.
Better than Dirk.
At the end of the day, I still think Dirk is pretty one-dimensional, even though that one dimension that he has
is very damn good.
Is an all-time great dimension.
Right. When we come back, I want to talk about right now, currently, who is the best player in the league. Top 5 best player in the league.
Regardless of position?
Regardless of position. Who's the best player in the league right now? All coming up next, it's the booth with Big Matt and Jay Lee.
ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Buck Ruff, the crime dog here. Let's hear from an identity thief.